Hello, this is Keith Lamont. I'm working on AI War 2. Yesterday, I was focused on testing and identifying things needed to be done. Today, I'll be focused on doing them. Hoping to pick up the pace. This week has been crazy in terms of other things I've had to do. So let's start with something pretty easy. This happens to be the first thing on the list. That player homeworld should never get hacking points. So we're going to come over here to, I think this is in core actually. No particular reason it couldn't be moved to external. This is basically the logic for deciding which planets are good at which resources. It's not fully random because we don't want the random number generator to generate planets that are just obviously awesome at everything on one side and planets that just stink at everything. We don't want that. Maybe we'll find a use for that in some alternate distribution later on, but basically now we just want planets to be different, but not wildly different in terms of overall utility. Some planets will definitely be better depending on your circumstances. And the high science planets will probably always be desirable. There's probably some balance that needs to be done between the resources there. So, first it assigns all of the fuel, metal, power, and science resources. I won't go through all the logic. We need to focus on getting work done. Then it assigns hacking. And so, yeah, basically, here is the line, if player homeworld, skip. Just don't add it to the random bag that we're pulling from for assigning hacking points. So first I need to make sure that I understand where this is happening. It should be, okay, yeah, so this should have meaning at this point in the code. And I was almost certain that it was the case, that we already knew where we were starting, so. Now, one thing is in multiplayer, you want to get to multiple starting planets, this will be something different. But this follows the same as a general pattern. What is that? Sure it does. Anyway, so if planet index is equal to that. Okay. And that should be that. That should be done. Yeah, it's taking a little while to build. I'm not really going to test that right now because, I mean, if it comes up, if I'm still seeing it happen, then we'll fix it, but it's pretty straightforward. So I'm just putting in a note. Player homeworlds can no longer start with hacking points to avoid motivating reloading until you get a planet with hacking points. And maybe we'll come back to this and say we want the player homeworld to always have hacking points. But if that's the case, we may as well just start the player with a certain number of hacking points directly rather than doing it for the initial planet. Okay. That kind of begs the question about science, the metal, power, fuel, science balance. Yeah, let's just say that they're going to exclude the homeworld from these always. I just need to, basically what I want to do is hard code what happens to that planet. So planet, starting planet equals, get planet by index, setup. Okay, there we go. And then we want to these are the two lines. Just going to pull this out into a function. Now, of course, it won't let me because of the continue. And that continue would never actually be taken. So actually, yeah, why bother with that? Just there's only the 4. Yeah. So we're just gonna take that out. And now we'll pull this. This is where the actual rubber meets the road in assigning the resource amounts. Assign resource priority to planet. And this is where the multipliers come from this thing in external contact and in external constants. And I will actually take a brief detour to show you that. So balance planet resource multipliers. Let's go over here to external constants. So balance planet resource multipliers. You see, it's just comma separated list 2, 1.5, 1, and 1. What this means is that of the 4 resources that metal, fuel, power, and science that the planets are picking in this way, the first one it picks, it will get, or I should say, the one that has its highest priority. It will be twice as good at as quote unquote normal. The second one it picks, it'll get 50% better than normal, and then the other 2 it just has normal. Okay, so I'm going to pull this because it's only being used in this. So we want. Actually, what we want is int multiplier index. Yeah, I just prefer that ordering. Okay. This outer index is the thing that we're using to calculate the multiplier index. So the first time through it picks the first multiplier, the second time through it picks the second multiplier, and so on. Alright, so yeah, I think Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we'll just I'll break with normal pattern and I'll decide to actually be nice to you. So let's see if this will work. It may look a little confusing at first. We'll see. So basically, we want. Yeah, I mean, the idea is you want science as your main thing you care about most of the time. Power is also really important because it's defense. That's your local defense ability, basically, unless you have mobile fleet assets there. Metal. And then fuel. So, well, I was going to be nice to you and just give you best at all of them, but nah, we'll just do it this way. So you'll start with the most science that you can get, and you'll get a little bit extra power than usual, which gives you a little bit of room for, say, a starship constructor while maintaining normal-ish turretry. And then metal and fuel, you'll just have the normal amounts because the second and third multiplier are the same. Pardon the. I'm not sure if you can hear the music. Somebody's just hammering the drums on the other side of the wall. That's an interesting situation. The room I'm in actually has much better, much less interference from the HVAC than the room I normally record in. But that room is not currently available. So, anyway. Yeah, I'm just going to leave this the way it is. So now, player homeworlds. Now always start with this resource priority. With great at science, good at power, and normal at metal and fuel. Metal and fuel are the resources you have to expand for those. They give you empire-wide ongoing amounts. The extra science is a good boost at the beginning of the game, though. And we certainly do want it to be the same from start to start. Otherwise, again, to avoid motivating starting game over and over until you get the resource you want. And, we could define a conduct in the lobby that would change the order of your resources. I mean, that way you'd be picking it. But for now, let's not worry about that. Okay, now we want a way to visualize which planets have how much of which resources on the galaxy map. Now, this is something I'd really like to do, but the visual side is a lot more complicated to program than in Classic, and so I can't just throw up some icons. So, well, first, the hardest part is actually getting the icons into the game. Let me see, how are we doing the icons for resources? Because those are showing up now. Yeah, I'm not seeing that there. So we want to look at the UI. We want to look for resource bar. Okay, there we go. Okay, so yeah, where? Okay, is it showing? Let's take a look at the game. It seems like we've got those icons for the different resources drawing somewhere. Oh, gotcha. What, really? I had no idea. Wow. We're actually, this is neat. We can actually put a sprite embedded into the text. I think Chris had told me this, and I just totally did not notice that we could do this. This may or may not help me because I don't want to be using UI elements on top of the galaxy map. Okay, so apparently I was a little bit overconfident about that resource assignment code not messing anything up. So, line 231 in MapGen. Okay, is resource priorities ever null? No, it's never null. That means that planet is null, which means that starting planet must be null at this point. But that doesn't make any sense. How could it be null? Obviously, what is this is returning null, which means that this is like -1 or something. But I don't understand. Okay. Well, I'm going to do it a different way, since clearly it's not working as I desired it to. I'll just move this down to some later time. Because the resource amounts don't really matter at that particular block. Okay, so now we will have at least one planet, assuming the map isn't some weird thing that has less than 2 planets, or less than or equal to 2 planets. We will now have 4 equals. And this will handle more gracefully the multiplier case when we actually have multiple starting planets there. we'll do the same thing for the hacking thing. Okay. That should work better. So yeah, I don't really need to actually run this test anymore because I already know how those images are being put into the resource bar. Question now is, how do I get I mean, basically what I can do is, I already have code for putting these images here, though it's going to take a little bit of doing to articulate it to not always just show the king units or the special things or whatever. What I need to do is be able to get at that sprite, the metal sprite, so that I can use it. So is this in universal? Yeah, I need to look up the text thing. Yeah, this is me trying to figure out somebody else's code. It's probably not going to be pretty. Yes. We have a kind of convoluted UI system, but that's nothing new. So yeah, I'm guessing that that sprite thing is actually just handled internally by this right here, which puts us into external DLLs that I don't have the source code to. And so somewhere in there it handles that sprite tag in a magic and wonderful way. So alright, so we may not be able to do everything we want to do here, but I should be able to do some of the framework for it. Basically, we don't really want to show those resource icons next to those planets on the galaxy map all the time. We want the player to be able to tell it to do that instead of the normal display. So basically what that means is like what we have in AOI World Classic. We have sort of galaxy display modes, galaxy display filters, the two different things that are kind of weirdly related. I don't think we have that concept defined in the code here yet, so and this is something that I want to have moddable. So that means instead of just defining an enum or whatever, I'm going to actually define a table, an XML table, which, the word table doesn't really correlate very well, but yeah, this probably needs to go in the external visualization. It is, after all, visualization. But so I need to define the hooks for that. Alright, so There we go. So, yeah, this is probably still going to be defined. Yeah, the table thing is still going to be in core. So where should I put this? Well, I'll just put it in tables for now. This is kind of a catch-all. But like, yeah, where is my like planet type? I mean, that's probably defined in the wrong place. Yeah, I don't know that I really need. Okay, yeah. So planet definition. This is actually, yeah. So it's defined in core, but like where in core? Presentation. Okay, good. This is where I want it. So just gonna copy that and do galaxy map display mode. Okay. Yeah, I don't really want that. Yeah, this doesn't really have anything to do with being a planet definition. I'm not really trying to keep any of that. I do want, let me pull, I'm actually gonna look at special factions since that's one of the more recent ones that I've added, and this is closer to the pattern I like to follow. So I'm gonna have gonna have this be a galaxy map display mode implementation. This is just gonna be the interface. I don't know what signatures I'm gonna give it yet. But so it's gonna have a display name, it's gonna have the DLL and type name, and then it'll have the implementation object itself, which won't be a special faction, it'll be one of these. Alright, so yeah, I guess I don't really need to define the default constructor, but I will anyway. And so we want alright. Now we want to define the XML, or add the infrastructure for the XML. So I'm going to copy. Okay, open file. I'm going to copy special faction. Okay, no, I don't want The nano cost is spreading. We're going to call this Galaxy Map Display Mode. Okay. So this should theoretically show up now, but it may not. So many folders. They don't have like a collapse all. This is my fancy schmancy text editor that I actually paid money for. It's got some very nice features. You won't see most of them in this work, but okay, sidebar. Seems like, oh well, I'm not going to worry about it right now. It's just helpful to not have everything expanded that I've ever had expanded. Okay, there's Galaxy Map Display Mode. Alright, so we're just going to have a normal, and the display name will be, you guessed it, normal. The DLL will actually not be the normal external DLL, because this is going to need to be able to use symbols. It's external visualization code. This needs to be able to use symbols that only the visualization side of the game knows about. The core doesn't. So, what namespace am I using there? Okay, that. Galaxy Map Display Mode Normal. And the names of these, like the type of that element doesn't really matter, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because that is my particular mental pathology. Alright, so I then want to define that class I just referred to in the XML. One thing I want to do first, before I move on too far, is put the hook that actually loads this data. So this will be, I just put this at the top because that way it doesn't add any dependencies in the order of loading the data. So Galaxy Map table instance load initialized. Okay, is okay. So now I'm going to copy the special faction. Yeah, I'll just copy the zombies. Yeah, actually there's going to be very little that I'm doing with it, so it doesn't really matter what I copy. But so Galaxy Map Display Modes. What did I use the plurals up here? Yeah, I've been using plurals. Probably not consistently, but oh well. Modes. And then, can I just paste this? Okay, I guess I can just paste it. Rename normal. Okay, and that's it. That's basically all the framework. You know, that allows me now to define the data in a way that you can modify or extend or whatever. Because I imagine a lot of you have different ideas about how you want the galaxy map to show you your information. And a lot of you aren't going to want to wrangle with my the modding framework, but many of you will, and those of you that do can be helpful to those of you who don't. Okay, so so what we're going to do is actually move the current icon logic, if I can both find it and move it, out to the external code into that normal thing. And then I can add another display mode. So actually there's one more thing I need to do for framework, which is to have somewhere where it actually cares about display mode. So display mode is going to be, I'm not going to serialize it right now, which means it won't persist across save and load. I could do that though. Yeah, let's go ahead and put it on a player object, because you can have more than one player on a particular world side. You may not realize that. There is support for multiple players on different machines controlling the same side, but there's only one player count per machine, and only one machine per player count. So let's do public galaxy map display mode, current display mode. Galaxy map display mode. Buffer add. Actually, let's add this serialize. Okay. All I was doing is writing the internal name to the serialization stream, but I have it use the table method so that in case I want to change that log centrally, I can. Alright, so now we also want the straightforward thing to do is just this current is equal to galaxy map deserialize, buffer is loading, deserialize. Okay. But that's going to break all old saves because it's not going to see that in all the old saves. So in order to do that, we want to define a new game version record. This is 504. Session revise 3. Yeah, what I want to do is protect against that destroying all old saves. So there should be some examples here. Okay, here's one. Yeah, I need to define an enum to match this. Yeah, the part after the number doesn't really matter. It's very helpful when you're going through the code if you want to see, okay, what else did I add during that version? Well, I can just do a find all references on that enum in a way that's not nearly as reliable if I was just using strings or whatever. Alright, so that should be pretty hardy. That's going to work. Lord. I hope so, anyway. Alright. So, now I need to go into visualization. One other thing. I need this to default. Now this should actually, okay, yeah, that's gonna send me back to, because I should be able to get this working. What I want is I want that display mode to start on normal. I don't want to have to like count on it not being null. I want to be able to count on it being null, not being null. Bleh. Okay, so where's the tables? Dynamic table. Okay, deserialize. Okay. Get row by name. So yeah, it looks like that's going to return null. So where is it using the default? Because I have the capacity for defining what's default. Okay, so it's used in the fill. Okay, when it's loading it from XML. Yeah, I see. And that's only if you don't try to define a name. It's not going to give you the default if you give it a name that it doesn't recognize. But this does give us what we need for the most part. All right, core, kill that. Yeah, I'll just handle the case of it being null. That's better than trying to find the right point in the... Well, where's viewing planet index set? I think that just defaults to 0, so... But... Okay, so switch planet. Well, you know what? When a player account is created, that should know. This should be defined by then. Yeah, I don't get it. Where's the constructor? I mean, I assume the constructor is at least being called. It's probably being called in universal. So I'm just gonna define the constructor. There we go. That way, if you're just creating a game rather than loading it from disk or whatever, it will still have a value. Or if you're loading an old game, it'll still have a value. Alright, so it should never be null now, unless there's some... Oh, if I set the default thing correctly. Alright. Should be good. Let's go down here to visualization, galaxy map planet, king map icon. Which is not actually exactly what I want. I wanted to deal with other map icons. I'm just trying to make sure I understand where this is being set. It's kind of weird. It doesn't seem... I mean, I see where the array itself is being initialized right there, but I don't see where the population of those icons is being set. Oh, ref. Okay. So it's just copying the gimbal into the icons. Gotcha. I'm not entirely sure that I understand exactly what's going on. Oh, I see map icon update values from the gimbal. Okay, that should be fine. Okay. So really what I wanted to know is where's the gimbal holder set? Okay, so this is actually defined in... Oh, you get this transforms being tracked in core. Be nice if that wasn't the case, but oh. Thought we were trying to keep all of that out of core. So, let's come over here. Okay, here's the actual update galaxy map visuals if needed. So this is actually in core. That's fine. Well, that is fine, but gimbal holders. I mean, it's just setting whether or not it's active or not. This is a long rabbit hole. So yeah, this would be overridden by... Now we're going back to visualization. No, the single entity does not have more than one reference. I'm sure that something else was going on. And though if you're holding on to references from previous executions of the game, or there are previous map gens specifically, then yeah, you could have two references to the player's king unit. It's just one of them is no longer really in the game. Alright, so... This is where the rubber meets the road. And... Excuse me. All right. So let's wrap this. pick new other gimbals. Is that what I want to call it? Pick other things to show. Let's make this generic enough. Alright, and so this is the signature we want for so many things open I can't keep track of it anymore. Let's close them all. So we want in presentation here Galaxy Map display mode. We want the interface and external code to define a pick other things to show method. And we want to move this to external code. Yeah. Seems like we need to broaden this a little bit. And we are going to need to broaden this to not just be entities. We need to be able to show arbitrary icons, but one thing at a time. Yeah, that's really weird that you would, if you were getting the primary keys to match, but not the entity references themselves. I don't think that's possible. I'm going to leave this as it is for now, but I'm probably going to take it off later. Alright, so let's update that signature. So player account, local, okay. That's not gonna build obviously, but okay, where's the mode? There should be a mode. Maybe I didn't make it accessible. That seems weird. Yeah, it's right there. Implementation, Pick other things to show. King. New other gimbals. Okay. So that compiles. Okay. This should be fine. Let's just test this to make sure that I'm not failing to understand something. Basically, all we've done at this point is take a solid piece of metal and break it in two and reconnect them with a new joint. We haven't really changed anything, if we've done it right. The purpose is so that we can then, during runtime, easily detach one side of that and connect it with another thing that fits that joint. Yeah, well, it looks like it works to me. To do a little bit more of a test, let's just show everything. Yeah, it's showing it as far as I'm concerned. Alright. So, now we need to be able to not just do entities, we need to be able to do things that aren't entities. And at some point we're going to hit the point where I have to turn this back over to Chris and say, okay, I don't know where the metal icon is. Can you please put that there? I'm trying to avoid asking him to do more than that, though, because he has other things he needs to be doing. Okay, it appears that maybe he's already anticipated my needs here with other map icons. What are these? No, we were already talking about this. Yeah, it's just being copied in from the gimbals. Okay. So, well, for now it's probably sufficient just to show the icons of the resource gatherers. I'd rather have them more flexibility, but for now, let's just work with what we have. But I'll make a note. Okay. So now we want to define a new, because we've articulated the joint. Now we want to define a new display mode. Resources. And I'm actually going to make it default for now, so that it will show up. Because we'll add the interface for choosing display modes next. I have this bad habit of putting multiple classes in the same file. I probably shouldn't, but I'll try to be good now. I'll just copy this, get that name. Okay. Alright. So what do we want to do here? I'd like to be able to loop over everything that could be a resource point, but without looping over everything. Let's see, player structures, is that it? No, resource spots. Tags won't help here because things aren't, there's no like roll up index done by tag for efficiency. That would probably then the simply the performance impact of having all those roll ups would be significant. Seems like I should have a resource producer roll up though. I may not, but I think I should. I mean, the AI would care about them anyway. How can I most rapidly ruin the day of the player? Although killing resource nodes is actually not so important for that. It is metal, fuel, power, science, and hacking. Okay, yeah, I mean, I can just go with that. And it may actually simplify certain things. So I'll just try to go in sort of canonical order here. So if for and I equals planet resource priorities count, okay, because that's what's set. And if you remember that the map gen, what's going on? Okay, weird. Map gen, I was setting resource priorities. So let's see, roll up type. What am I doing? Okay, switch. Planet resource priorities. I don't know. Sorry, I'm spacing out here. Case metal, then roll up equals metal. Break case power, roll up equals power. I can say here. It's pretty serious. Case fuel. Science. Hacking. There should be no default case, but just continue. Alright, that way I can just count on rollup being assigned here. So the ways I could do it. I'm not going to do the entities to skip thing here. And I'm going to ignore can see enemies. I'm just going to take that out. The idea is if you know about a planet, you know about its resources. And I'm only going to show each resource once, so it's basically whatever. There shouldn't be more than one producer on each planet. But yeah, if we filled the array, then we need to stop. But we shouldn't fill the array. So it's got 4. Okay, so now if I'm correct, I think we're done. As far as implementing this, I mean, like the interface to be able to select this may actually take more time. So did I properly? I want to make sure I saved. Yeah, I saved. So let's see, how bad did it blow up? It appears to work to me. Now, because we went with just showing the icon, okay, yeah, this is kind of weird. So when I'm showing the icon of the producer, there's a few weird oddnesses. One is you'll notice that the controller is actually in the list, because the controller is the power generator. There used to be a separate power generator, and I took that out and just made the controller do it. Because the idea is, if they take out your controller, then they take out your power grid. That's fine. But I didn't want to bother with the separate power generator, because then you'd always want to defend your immobile power generator that you couldn't move, and it just was a mess. So if they take out your controller, they disrupt your defenses, and that's fine with me. So that's what's showing. So it's showing a different color, of course. But so yeah, see here the fuel, the metal, the power, and the science, and so yeah, it doesn't look like it's showing it in the right order. Because all of those are supposed to be 1,000 base, and so metal should be showing first. So it's somehow showing like metal, power, fuel, science. What's going on? Well, let's see if it's at least a consistent. So this one is metal, power. Okay, so here metal is the top one. So it puts the top one in the upper right. Here it puts the top one. Oh, I see. Okay. The text is not being displayed in order of priority, it's being displayed in order of resource. I had it displayed in order of priority, but then somebody asked me to change that, and I did. So, fuel, metal, and then power and science in somewhere. Okay. Now, metal? Okay, so metal, science. Okay, yeah, so it is a consistent order. It's just putting the first one here, the second one there, the third one there, and the fourth one there. Which is fine. I think what I'm going to do is only show the first two. Because that way it just tells you this is what this planet is good at. And the top one will be at the top. Because showing the other two just kind of clutters it up. So, if I is greater than, well, and I is less than 2. The other oddness is it was showing the king unit. So, because the king unit does actually produce certain things. So if entity, if it's mobile, we're gonna skip it. Although the controller is mobile. This is ridiculous. So if it can go through a wormhole, it's not part of the planet, so we'll ignore it. If it can't go through a wormhole, then it is part of the planet, and so we'll include it. I think that will do for now. I would rather access that information more directly, but I think it'll do for now. And you'll be able to evaluate the strategic value of planets versus each other in terms of their resources, which is the goal. Okay. So apparently resource collectors don't have the cannot go through wormhole things up. Which makes sense, they shouldn't need to. No, okay, that's not what I want. So if it cannot go through wormholes, if it can go through wormholes and it is mobile, then we want to skip it. Okay, that should be right. This is taking a while, although in the grand scheme of things, taking an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever, to implement a feature like this, considering we had to add the mod support in the process, I think it speaks well to our architecture that it can react that quickly. Okay, so science and power, which is right. Metal and science, that's correct. Fuel and metal, that's correct. Okay. So, like, if I want metal, okay, I'm just going to look for whatever's the, okay, where's the metal? Metal's on top there. That tells me if I really want metal, I'm going to take Floria. If I want fuel, I want to take Martin or Perlman. If I want science, none of these actually are good at science except my home world. And if I want power, because I want something that's more defensible, because it's got more local power, Caliban, Stade, or Vorandel help there. If I want hacking points, Hori. Which also happens to have max level power, because the hacking points don't take the first priority slot. They just show up in the first priority slot, since they're probably the most important thing about the planet. So let's show the rest of things. So yeah, if I wanted science and I had scouted a little bit, because one of the things that it would have told me at the beginning is if I really wanted science, I didn't really have any very good choices in my initial area, and if I wanted max science, I needed to go further out. It did tell me though that that Floria, Bastille, and Perlman had secondary specializations in science, as well as Randall. But his Mistral has max science. Daring has max science. So those are right next to each other. Anarowin and Bring and later. This is a little weird. You got like 5 max science planets altogether. 6, 7, 8. That's kind of bizarre. Kind of makes me wonder if there's like some kind of randomization bug, but I don't think so. I mean, it doesn't look that irregular. But there's a lot of hacking over here. That's a lot of hacking. And a lot of fuel over here. Well, not a ton of fuel, but some. Well, there's nothing especially wrong with there being regional specializations. I just didn't intend for there to be. And like, this tells you that Fortnite has max power and is a choke point, for that cluster against that. And Cart is also max power and a choke point. Mistral is not, but Daring is. So that would tell you that Daring is probably the place to hold that connection because it's got more power than Mistral. I mean, now these are actually secondary specializations. They're not max. Same with Fortnoy. So it's like, you know, you kind of have to choose between positioning, ideal positioning and ideal defenses. Alright, now we just need to implement the interface for selecting this. It's been a while since I've implemented a new interface, but it's going to be very similar to the Planet Action menu. In-game Galaxy Map Display Mode menu. Well, where do I want? Let's look at the interface, because I don't really want to create a new thing at the level of this. I don't really want that to be a sibling of Planet Action. All right, so 0. It could be. It certainly could be. I think what I'll do is add a new Galaxy button between planet and objectives, which of course is going to change like the hotkey. It won't be 0711 anymore to select all military. It'll be 0811. That's just going to be part of the process of us finishing up this UI. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, had an interruption there. Alright, so we're going to add a Galaxy, basically a Galaxy Action menu. That's what I'll call it for now. Oh no, I'll call it the Galaxy menu, because it's not really actions on the Galaxy, the way that Planet Actions are actions on the planet. Okay, so this one's actually going to go above. So the Galaxy menu will contain the Galaxy Map Display Mode menu. And it'll just go above it. And I think that with the new relative coordinate system I have in place for stacking windows on top of each other, basically, that should actually work just fine the way it is. Which would be nice. And now here's with the button that opens the planet menu, so we're going to add one that opens the Galaxy menu. So let's go over here and clone the Planet Action menu and use the name of the Galaxy menu. Fix up the naming. Yeah, it's not going to have a planet that's related to it. Yeah, I may actually, since this isn't really, I'm not looping over something to generate those galaxy menu things. So yeah, this is basically what I'm doing here. Is that what I want to do? I think so. I think this is the clearest way of doing it. So it won't have an X coordinate. It'll be in the first position. B toggle galaxy map display mode window menu. Alright, so I'll go over here to the developer tools menu and use that. So that, yeah, I won't have this at all. Yeah, I think I actually will move the Find Planet screen, the Find Planet button, over from, this is a button that Badger implemented. We're very grateful for that. And it'll just be this. Now that there's a better place than the Planet Action screen, so I'll pull that out. And we don't need that. Alright, so, and this will be tracing. It's going to be more like the tracing menu. Yeah. This will be for the tracing menu. Just shows the different types of performance tracing you can do. You may never have used it. It doesn't really matter to players. Okay, so we'll have this open that. So I think we should be to the interface now. So here we can actually write the thing that we want to have do something. So if local mode equals this mode, then buffer. Yeah, obviously this is very poor UI to just stick an asterisk onto the end or onto the beginning, now the simple way of doing this to test it is to just assign it directly. If we want it to serialize properly across save games in a multiplayer setting, we're going to want to do something different. But let's test this part first. Oh yeah, I configured the individual buttons, but not the set of buttons correctly. So. If we ever want to be able to control the order in which these show up, other than just the order in which they're defined in the XML file, I'll have to add some kind of sort order thing, but I'm not going to do that right now. It may never be necessary. I think that's it. And so we'll actually change normal back to the default. It appears to have died the death. Okay, what's going on? So, unable to load toggle galaxy menu. Oh, yeah. I defined it in the XML, but not in the code. Thankfully, it's not going to be a big deal. Okay, there might have been another error in there, but it's often hard to tell which follow-up errors would have been there if the first one hadn't been. So usually you just fix the first one and you try it again. But it looks like this one's a little more stubborn than that. Okay, so could not find find planet screen, hidden galaxy game menu. Okay, hidden galaxy menu. Oh, I made it private. Okay. I think Badger had made it private because he didn't need it to be public in his usage. The way I need to do it in mine. Yep, this is what debugging looks like. Bug guts everywhere. Alright, so yeah, this is showing the normal thing with the sensor scramblers. So 0, 6, oh, it popped them up a little too high. Not a big deal, but I do want to fix it. So that's the galaxy menu. It's supposed to be above the master menu. That is kind of bizarre. It also overwrote the planet thing. But I think I see, yeah, this is actually going to be a height of 3 as opposed to Well, is it? Yeah. So yeah, it will be 3. Okay. This will also be 3 is the intent. Okay, so all quite explicable. And so we want to do 50, 60. Yeah, I could just have these set up to be relative to each other. I don't think that that's currently supported, having elements be relative to each other, but that's definitely a case where it would have gone more smoothly if I'd done that. Okay, so the find planet mode, the find planet window is there. Display mode. That's curious. And when I push the button, it does show up properly, but it's like overlaying the buttons on top of each other. And 2 normal. It's not normal's not 2. Normal's 1. It's kind of funny how it's propagating, but that's acceptable for now. Okay, so we want to figure out why this is displaying things on top of each other. I think it's just because the X is not being incremented. I'm not sure why that is, but what I really don't get is why I was showing normal for both of them. Although I think I've got a good idea why I was showing normal for both of them. I never changed the name. Problem exists between keyboard and chair. Alright, let's see. 0, 6. Yeah, so planet and galaxy are now separate. 0, 6. Okay, they're at the right height. It's still showing the buttons to be too big. I sort of thought about that. So that's in here. Button height 3. It's still not. Why is it stacking them all up there? I mean, it shouldn't be doing that. It should be. This should be different. Did it not take it? No, I think, yeah, maybe I didn't properly save that change. It still works. And did I save this change? Okay, I think we're okay. Try one more time. Okay, so 0, 6. Okay. Okay, that's looking correct to me. So, we'll show everything. Yeah, this is how I amuse myself. Obviously, there's things about this, like the controllers showing instead of the power icon, the colors showing. Probably better to have a color for each resource, that kind of thing. But I think this is definite progress. And I'm going to go ahead and write the notes. Added galaxy button between planet and to the right of planet on the master menu. Moved the find planet button from planet to galaxy. Added a new display button to galaxy, which opens a list of galaxy display modes. Currently, that's just normal, what you used to get before, and resources, which shows the 2 resources that planet, each planet, is good at. Better than normal producing. These modes are defined in XML and external code, so you can greatly change what they display if you are so inclined. Alright, so I'll say in external code, because the XML definition is just sort of a stub, but you don't really control what happens there. Alright, and so I'll take these notes to the subversion check-in. Yeah, there's the galaxy button. There's I removed the find planet button. There's the where the table is being loaded, the new table. There's the new version serialization gate enum. There's where I changed where the timing of the resource assignment. Here's where the galaxy mode was added to the player object. Here's where the resource assignment for the home world is being set beforehand. Incidentally, when these resource priorities are assigned, it means that it will be ignored by the main loop. Here's where I pulled the resource assignment logic into a method. There's where I excluded the human homeworld from hacking points. There's that method I put out. Here is where I pulled this method out into external code for just picking what other things to show for those 4 icon slots. Here is the actual new game version record. Here is this is where I added the galaxy menu button. This is the galaxy menu window, the galaxy menu map display mode menu. Then here's the actual UI code for that. Here's the table, or here's the external code definitions for those 2 new modes. There's the table definition, and here's the XML for the table. And I think that's it. Let's see if it actually takes the commit or if it conflicts because of other stuff. Yep, it's conflict. So that's okay, we'll update, see what. Yeah, that's probably going to mean that I'm going to have to spend a lot of time updating my Unity copy because of all these new models. Although it depends on whether or not they've actually been used or not. Yeah, this is just lots and lots of new models because Synth and Chris and Blue are doing a really great job. I mean, yeah, Blue's doing the models themselves, just a ton of work. Just doing a really good job at it, and Synth is doing a great job just doing lots of things to get the model into shape. I don't know all of what he does. Chris is much more familiar with that, but like doing poly count checks, triangle count checks, coloring the triangles you can't see, just lots of stuff. It's been a while since I was up to date on exactly all what that was. And then Chris does a lot of the integration work for getting him in to the actual game. Okay, I kind of need to test this again to make sure that the combination of those changes we just saw come in from the SVN and the changes that I've made don't break everything. I'm not going to do a very exhaustive test, but it is important to know that the version of the game in the SVN doesn't die on arrival. Looking good though. Not crashing immediately, that's always good. 6, 1, 2. Is it showing the 6, 1, 2, okay. Yeah, science and power, it's correct. No hacking. Metal and so yeah, that looks good. I'll call it good enough for government work. Well, it's not government work, so I'm not sure why I say that. Alright. And come over here. And there's the notes. And here we are. Take those out. Take that out. And we're back to where we started. And I need to bring this recording to a close. It's probably going on an hour and 45 minutes between the two pieces. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for your interest and support for the project. Thank you very much. It's great to be able to work on this. And I hope that you'll like the result once we're done with it. Anyway, I need to wrap up. So, have a good day.